I don't live anywhere near what I make, except my jet, and that is excess.
Yeah, just my jet. I live like a normal person. Oh yeah. I forgot about my private jet. My bad, guys. Just.
But I don't.
Slight forget. The old brain. Not. Just forgot about my jet. My bad. Let's get into the video. I've never seen this channel, Jubilee. He's got 10 million subscribers, so he must be something. I mean, so he must be pretty big, I guess. 10 million people is a lot of people. But yeah, let's get into the video, boys. 20 people confront a billionaire. Let's lock in.
Today, I think we've all sat here and we've heard you talk about your jet and Maui and your 3 homes and the money that sits in your account that you don't care to touch. What stops you from helping every person in this room that's struggling right now? How do you help them? What do you do? Because you got a private jet, but I had to take off from work today and I'm struggling. I got bills, man.
This looks like it's going to be good chat.
I'm John Morgan, the founder of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. And according to Forbes, I'm a billionaire. Ask me anything.
My first question is, how much are you currently worth and how did you amass that amount of money?
I'm a lawyer. I went to law school and became a lawyer, but I'm also a serial entrepreneur. I built and operate a chain of attractions across America. I have Marriott hotels across America. I build shopping centers. The big part of my wealth has been generated by my law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Well, I don't know exactly how much I'm worth. I used to tell my kids when they were little, when their friends would ask them, are we rich or not? I said, the answer is this. We're comfortable.
What do you mean comfortable? Like, you definitely have way more than just being comfortable. You live a luxury life.
Do you call being worth $1 billion comfortable?
Very. And but you don't feel like it because you don't spend it. When you grow up a certain way, it's not like it's changed much in my life. I'm in the same house. I don't spend the money that you would think I'd spend. It's odd because you have all this money in the bank, but it doesn't really change what you do day to day.
My question for you is, what stops you from using your wealth to change somebody's life?
Nothing. Listen, I live 3 places. I live in Florida,
hey, straight to the point, I guess.
Hawaii, and I live in New Hampshire. But I've taken my wealth and done certain things. Like in Florida where I live, I ran a constitutional amendment twice to legalize medical marijuana. I lost the first time, but I won the second time with 72% of the vote. I believe that income inequality is the #1 issue facing America today. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And every day the gulf is getting wider. So what did I do? I ran a constitutional amendment. I spent tens of millions of dollars to raise the minimum wage from $8 an hour to $15 an hour in Florida. That's a doubling of the minimum wage.
1 sec, chat.
So I take that money that I
Wait, what doubly amounts right there? 1 sec, chat.
Constitutional amendments, and I've put money into food banks and coalition for the homeless, and it goes on and on. And I will tell you this, not to pat me on the back too much about it, because I don't really feel it. I don't really feel it. I was at lunch the other day, and this woman walks up to me. She says, John, I just want to thank you and your wife for the donation you made to iDignity. I didn't know what iDignity was. I said, how much do we give? She said, $500,000. It turns out that my wife had given the money. And by the way, if you want money, call my wife. And iDignity is a place for the poorest of the poor to get identification.
Bro doesn't even know he's just giving away 500K. Nah, that's when you know you're rich.
Food stamps. I believe when you make this kind of money, you have an obligation to give it back. You don't feel it. It doesn't hurt you. You know, you can look at me and know I'm not missing too many meals. So I don't feel like
yeah, he's comfortable, I guess.
Special. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
So I'm going to try to rephrase it. What stops you from getting out that car at the moment where you and your son, and you've seen the homeless person? What stopped you from changing that person's life?
Well, I do get out of the car from sometimes. When I pull up to a stoplight and there's somebody out there begging for food, even if they look like they've been eating donuts for the last 10 years, I give them money because I'm not going to judge them. I look at them this way. They're out there on the street in the heat. I don't know what they're doing out there, but you know what? It's not my job to judge.
I feel like a lot of billionaires, they say the same thing. They say they do donate and they do give to people. You give to organizations and large conglomerates that take your money and they break it up and they throw it around. If you're not handing something down to help somebody who really needs it, then what does it matter?
You're in the law field, and that's how you've amassed your network and everything that you've earned. If you had to start over in a different industry, what would you be in order
Good
to
question.
become a billionaire again?
Good
I don't
question,
know how
chat.
it happened in the first place. So it's like keep waiting to wake up, and it was all a dream. I was like, how did this happen? Listen, here's my problem. I suck in math and I suck in science, so there's not many jobs left for me after that. But my gut tells me I want to go to Wall Street and make deals like that. But what I would probably do is stay in the attraction business that I'm in. I love that business because there's no fighting. And I did it as a hobby. I've
Attraction
always
business. What's
thought
that?
what I could have done with my attraction and amusement business if I'd had it full time instead of, it was more like collecting stamps than anything, to tell you the truth.
So you made some comments about liking capitalism and how much legislation you did for
Yo,
raising
these are some
the minimum
big
wage
words,
for
chat.
$15
I don't
an
find-
hour here in
yo.
Florida. Is there anyone at your law firm or your
Legislation,
multiple
what the fuck
businesses
is
that
that?
you're paying less than $15 an hour now?
No. And I wasn't paying less then.
What is legislation? Is the process of result in enrolling, enacting, or promulgating laws by Yo, that did not answer my question. Legislation is the process of resulting in enrolling, don't know what that means, enacting, no idea, promulgating laws by legislation. Okay, so let me get this straight. I asked what legislation means, and they're like, oh, a legislation is so-and-so is by legislation. You just didn't answer my question then, did you? Yo, this internet, bro, what's going on? Is a law or... You know what, let's just get on with the video, bro.
Because I believe
I'm losing my
that
mind
a
out here.
living wage is a civil right. I also believe
Wait, what? Is anyone that works for you being
that
a...
retaining employees with a living wage and bonuses, it's good for business. I believe.
Wait, what?
by
What do you say?
paying- Also believe.
For raising some comments about liking capitalism and how much legislation you did for raising the minimum wage for $15 an hour here in Florida. Is there anyone at your law firm or your multiple businesses that you're paying less than $15 an hour now?
No.
Did this guy just ask, is there anyone you're paying less than minimum wage? Even if he was, why would you say you are? That's illegal. Bro, that's such a dumb question because even if he was, he would never admit
And I
to it.
wasn't paying less then because I believe that a living wage is a civil right. I also
Yeah,
believe
no shit.
that retaining employees with a living wage and bonuses, it's good for business. I believe by paying more to my employees, I keep them, attrition is lower, and believe it or not, although it sounds backwards, I believe by paying more, I make more because I keep people, and my people are really all I have.
So in your opinion, why aren't other
Wait, that's kinda
billionaires
smart, though.
doing the same thing that you're doing?
Well, I think some are and some aren't. A lot of people have to, like once I raised the minimum wage here in Florida, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Universal raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I kind of took credit for that. At a certain point, when wages start to rise, businesses have to respond because if Universal's paying $15, then Disney's got to pay $15 because who cares if you're running Small World or Harry Potter? You're looking for a job.
So you mentioned a little bit how you've put money into politics and things like that, and in the current political climate in the United States, our government's run by the billionaires, kind of for the billionaires. What do you think the moral role of a billionaire should be within the United States government?
By and large, the
Yo, these
opposite of
questions
what
are
it
too big
is.
for me.
These fat cats got so much money, but they want the tax laws to benefit them. Like these hedge fund people don't even pay taxes. And so the billionaires are not satisfied with what they have. They want more and more and more and more. And what my worry is, this income inequality, at some point there's a breaking point. At some point you can become Cuba. And what I would say to these billionaires, you're going to make this gulf so big and so vast, Just because you don't think it could ever happen in America, just remember January 6th. Just remember them.
What's good,
storming the
Confront? How
Capitol.
you doing, bro?
Those were the barbarians at the gate, and they were mad as hell. And you know what they're mad about?
I'm screw you,
They were
Confront.
mad
Yo,
because they
I
think they're
can't
gonna
pronounce
fall
your name, but
further
what's
and
good,
further
Confront?
behind. They weren't mad, and they thought Donald Trump was the one that could do it for them. But that's why they stormed the Capitol. And when I saw it, I said,
Chat,
that
these
could
questions
be
are actually getting
our
too big for
future
me. My brain
if we
can't
let the
comprehend this.
haves and the have-nots get so separated.
I think everybody knows that probably every single billionaire does evade taxes. And he did say that he wants billionaires to be taxed so high.
Yo, that's
but
such an
I
assumption.
promise you he probably has found ways to evade taxes.
Oh, all billionaires evade taxes. Well, let's quickly go back on that. She's basically saying he's what?
From the Capitol, we let
Probably every
haves and the have-nots get so separated.
Listen to
I
this
think
chat.
everybody knows that probably every single billionaire does evade taxes. And he did say that he wants billionaires to be taxed so high, but I can promise you he probably has found ways to evade taxes.
Bro, you can't make an assumption like that. Hello?
The tax rate was around like 90, higher than 90%, right? Would you be somebody that would advocate to bring back such a high tax rate in order to redistribute the wealth?
I don't know about 90% because you got to have some motivation. Listen,
Yeah,
I am a
90%.
capitalist. I believe in capitalism.
What's that?
But I also believe we have to do the most for the most with least.
So when you mention capitalism, right? Capitalism
These
is
words.
kind of inherently parasitical, right? You're gonna
What? I cannot understand parasitical capitalism legislation. Like,
labor that they're putting into the business.
can someone
And I
please
think
put this in
now
Fortnite
we're
terms?
seeing
I don't know
that
what's going
capitalism
on.
Inherently causes these income inequalities. So I think we need to expand those social safety nets. We need to increase taxes on the wealthy in order to allow the poor to enjoy, you know, the things that maybe you enjoyed when you were younger and things like that.
Well, look, I agree with you. And I think it's really for these people who are so rich, they're going to lose it one way or the other if they don't. Because look, the thing about, you got socialism and capitalism. Socialism on paper makes a lot of sense. But then you got to count on everybody working. Will they all work? But in the short run, what we're seeing right now with this big, beautiful bill that they're talking about, we're talking about cutting all sorts of benefits to give more money to the rich and dig our country into trillions of more long-term debt. And I look at it and I scratch my head. The rich should be taxed bigger and harder. And so the reason I'm more for capitalism is because if you go to a socialistic country like France,
France is not socialist.
Capitalism is kind of an economic system in which private individuals or businesses own capital goods.
France is not.
W.
No.
Called in
let's
the
say
chat.
China.
That's
Let's say
actually-
China
that actually
first.
makes
China's
sense.
not-
China's
China's
socialist.
communism. I've been to China.
China's not communist.
Huh?
China's not communist. They're run by the Chinese Communist Party, but they're not.
What
don't
are
have
they?
Any, they're a socialist country.
Socialist?
Yes. And you
Listen,
look at their
man,
infrastructure.
hey,
you
man,
look at
I've been to
their
China.
wealth inequality, and it's actually, you know, pretty good.
Have you ever been to China?
Have I? No. Why
Let me
have I
tell
been?
you something. It is the most oppressed country
No,
I've ever
no.
been to.
Look, no. China's not.
Bro, I'm gonna be serious with you. This guy can't speak. You can't say, oh, it's not a depressed country if you've never been.
Press. Look at China. China has they have great social safety nets.
You need to go
Yeah,
to
but you don't know that because you've never been to China.
China and watch the people with their heads down.
This is a completely
That voice crack never happened, okay?
different China.
Let's get on
we're
with the
talking
video.
About. I'm talking.
I'm talking about China today.
I'm talking. Yeah. Okay, if we're talking about China today, then no.
Then you have drank the wrong Kool-Aid.
I was like, oh,
Wait, what do you say?
Then you have drank the wrong Kool-Aid.
Yo,
I
this
was
guy's
like,
funny, bro.
Oh, I'm the only Asian person in the room, so it's like so weird to see somebody kind of like debate about a country that my mom is from. I would have to agree with John more in terms of like China being a communist country.
John, I'm a parent, and one of the challenges I have is making sure that my mindset is not my children's mindset. How do you overcome that challenge as a billionaire to make sure your children have their own mindsets?
That's hard to do because they live with you and they hear you. The interesting thing about life is you get older, you start listening to your children, you're like, they're stealing all my shit. I said that, I did that. But what I used to tell them is this: when you're watching me, take the good parts and leave the bad parts. And the thing I used to tell my kids is the only thing that I want you to be, I don't care what you are other than this, I want you to be a compassionate human being. I want you to put other people first. And that's the only mindset that I wanted them to take, and I think that they have done that.
One of my goals, I think, is to make my kids better than me. What's your main challenge that you see as a billionaire making your kids better than you?
The main challenge is that your children do not feel entitled. There's nothing worse than an entitled person, somebody who was born with a silver spoon stuck up their butt, and they become the worst person in the world.
Yo, he kind of mugs though. No homo, he kind of mugs.
And they
Wait, this guy. He's kind of mugging.
become
Holy.
the worst person in the world. I never bought my kids nice cars because I knew they were going to be dinged. And you have to make your kids work. You have to have consequences that are consistent. But the main thing you have to do, if I was giving advice as a parent, you got to spend a whole lot of time. It's all about the time. And remember this, your child is one friend away from total disaster. And when you see that friend, you got to separate that friend as hard as it is.
My work
Yeah,
is easy because I use Click.
Click up. Shut up. Yo, I can see why this guy's a billionaire. He's got bull knowledge. What is this video about? It is called 20 People Confront a Billionaire. So it's basically 20 people come in and ask like anonymous questions about, so it's questions. Could you become rich again if you started over? What, would you change life? Like all this stuff, minimum wage. Are you comfortable is a crazy question.
That when
Motherfucker's a
you have
billionaire.
child
I don't think he's
who
homeless.
is having a friend that you find them to be not good for them, essentially, that you have to do what you can to separate them. As a billionaire, what does that entail for you?
Well, you can only do so much. I mean, I've only separated 2 friends in all the years. And one was a kid who used to come over and, he just reeked of marijuana and he was stoned and I just had a bad vibe. And I said, look, so-and-so, you can't go over there and he can't come over here.
Yeah, I guess that's
son
valid,
Matthew
to be
was
honest. Help your children out.
enraged. You can't tell me who's going to be my friend. I said, I'm telling you, you can't go there and they can't come here. But you can't stop them at school. You can't stop them at a certain point. Later in life, I was justified because that kid that I was worried about ended up in prison.
I'm someone
Yeah,
who
nah,
works
this
with
guy
youth
got
in
aura,
Orlando.
bro. There's a
I
reason
spend,
he's a billionaire.
Every moment of my days to coach and develop the youth in Orlando. And I work with at-risk youth. And one of the biggest things that
he
I have
mugs,
seen in
chat.
Orlando
This guy
since
mugs the
medical
entire
marijuana
room.
was passed as a bill in Florida. Marijuana use has become normalized among the youth and those that are underaged. One of the things that you mentioned earlier is that you didn't allow your son to be friends with someone who smoked pot because he smelled loud and he smoked weed. So why would you advocate for a bill like that to be passed when you kicked someone out of your family's circle who was smoking weed themselves?
When my brother was paralyzed, they had him on Percocet, Xanax, and everything else. The only thing that gave him relief, immediate relief, was marijuana. Listen, I believe that marijuana use at an early age fries the mind. I drug tested my children a lot.
I feel like that's a fact,
And
though.
my son Matthew failed that drug test a lot. But here's the difference. Would I rather have my brother taking marijuana gummy or opioids, fentanyl? It's a no-brainer. So I don't think marijuana use is on the rise. Let me tell you something. If you want marijuana...
Wait, marijuana versus fentanyl? Bro, fent is like the worst drug you can get into, right? The billionaire is just like me. Facts. Yeah, I got billionaires in my chat,
go
bro.
to any middle school in America.
Facts.
Yep. And we'll have a nickel bag real fast.
Yeah. So do you feel that there's an ethical gray area when it comes to use of marijuana or other drugs in the youth or in adults in our country? And do you think that that leads to potentially a ethical gray area for you as a billionaire as it relates to other things in your life?
Medical marijuana, no way. Because listen, where I think the unethical conduct is coming from is from the pharmaceutical industry. Marijuana is a plant that was put into earth by God or by nature, and it works. I don't know how it works. I don't know how aloe works, but when you rub aloe on sunscreen, it goes away. So I feel very good morally, ethically, every single way about what I did with medical marijuana. And here's the proof in the pudding. 1 million people in Florida have a card, and guess who uses it mostly? People 65 and older. Go to the marijuana stores, look at the marijuana stores, look who's going in. It ain't kids, it's me.
Yeah, so I'm still really confused about the marijuana thing. I feel like with a lot
Yo,
of
her hair
billionaires,
is
they do want to
sick.
care for people, but they really don't want them around them. So that's what I feel that you feel with the marijuana. You're fine with people growing it, you're fine with people doing whatever. But right when it's in your house, you don't really care about the person. You want them not around you or your family.
I'd take a gummy every night. It's in my house what are you talking about?
Then why did you kick the person out of your house?
He was a kid who I thought was, not just that he reeked of marijuana,
Yo.
he was a kid who I thought was bad news. I didn't think that he was smoking marijuana. I thought he was selling marijuana. Look, I think all of Matthew's friends smoke marijuana, and so that wasn't the issue. The issue was this guy might be a criminal. This guy is a bad influence. So don't take it the wrong way.
Okay, so you kind of briefly talked on like
I agree with the
for-profit,
billionaire.
CEOs and things like that. I was just kind of hoping to hear your take on the current state of healthcare and what recently occurred with their CEO.
Before I answer that question, I want to go back to the coach's question about marijuana, just so everybody understands where I stand. If John Morgan was king, I'd legalize marijuana all over the country.
This guy just admits by taking a gummy in the evening. That's so elite.
How I feel about marijuana. As far as the healthcare, think about this for a minute. There's only one place that we go ever, and we never ask what it cost. When you go to get your hair cut, what's the cost? When you go to buy a candy bar, what's the cost? When you walk into a hospital, none of us ever ask what it's going to cost. You can get a Tylenol pill over here for 20 bucks. It could be $1 at the other hospital. The of the insurance industry by healthcare is awful. It's off the charts. Our pharmaceuticals in this country are way more money than pharmaceuticals in his favorite country, China. And so you got the healthcare where we don't ask what things cost, and then you got insurance companies who are fighting healthcare, and they're trying to gouge. The hospitals are trying to gouge. The insurance companies are trying to not be gouged. They're fighting, and guess who's stuck in the middle? The person who needs treatment, the person who has cancer, and they're saying, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. And then what happens? People go postal. People snap.
So would you be in favor?
What happens? People go postal. People
He kind of mugs too, as well.
snap.
So would
God,
you
I wish
be
I was
in
black.
favor then of a socialized form
Chad,
of
if you could be
healthcare
any
in the
race, what would you
States?
be? I'd be black 100%.
I don't know how it will work. Listen,
Every other major country has a socialized form of healthcare.
when Obama was president, he came to my house as president. I supported Obama. I'm on the National Finance Committee for Obama. And one of the things that I really liked about Obama was Obamacare. A lot of people lost their House seats for voting for Obamacare. So listen, I'm all ears about anything we can do to get more medicine and more treatment to people. My brother-in-law is a physician up in Haines City, Florida. I have a clinic called the Morgan & Morgan Clinic.
Yeah,
He runs it, I fund it, and we take care of.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
everybody who
That was a little bit of a flex.
Wall
Yeah,
specific
I agree
who
with you,
can't get
Kof. I
care.
agree with you a little
How
bit
do you
there.
deal with profiting over other people's injuries in your law firm?
Every business
good question.
is in business to make a profit. If you don't have a profit, you don't have a business.
Yeah,
On the other
facts.
side of me,
God, me and
on the
him,
other side
yo,
of
me
my-
and this guy are like on the exact same wavelength. It's crazy how similar we are. Like me and this billionaire, we're so similar. It's
my
crazy.
clients are insurance companies. Insurance companies do this. They take in premiums and they try not to pay claims. When they try not to pay claims fairly, that's when I'm hired. When I'm hired, the people who are hiring me cannot afford a lawyer by the hour. And the insurance industry, they live in this world. Deny, delay, defend. Their job is to never be fair with you. The people who come to me at their time of need are people who've had something taken from them. The business I'm in is being the key to the courthouse for people who can't afford it, taking all of the risk. And believe me, I've lost some cases where I've written off millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, the only thing between me and them getting a fair shake from the insurance industry is what we do, which is take them to trial. So I never even realized it could be this lucrative until I got in it. But I've also scaled it in such a way that most personal injury firms are like, one-trick ponies in one city. I built mine throughout the entire United States, and by having the scale that I have, my profit got a lot bigger.
You have mentioned before that you make money off of people's injuries and stuff like that. Do you think it's ethical to, I don't want to say take advantage of people, but take advantage of people when they're most vulnerable?
I think what I do is highly ethical. I think that the insurance industry is very unethical. I believe that I'm the difference between people getting back what was taken from them and relying on the insurance company. I believe that what I do is almost, not quite, like a ministry, because people come to me
just a bit, Cole.
desperate hour, whether they've lost
ticks
their
a
home,
few of the boxes.
lost a life, lost a limb, lost livelihood, and they have no way to fight back. So I can tell you this, I sleep very well with what I do and why I do it, because I am the civil police representing the people who cannot have a voice for themselves. I got into this business because my brother Tim was paralyzed, so I got to see what it's like to be on the other side. I got to see what it's like to be the poor person that's being oppressed. And I'll tell you what, it is the worst feeling in the whole world to be hopeless, powerless, helpless. And when you get to step in and even the playing field and say, hey, that ain't gonna happen. And when they try to give you peanuts, we're like, we're not taking peanuts.
I would sleep good as well if I was rich. Yeah, I think this guy's also sleeping, facts, but I think the sleep is also being helped by the gummies he takes per evening.
When I walk into
that and him being
my
rich,
lobbies throughout
both
America,
probably give
when
one
I see
person a
those
very good
clients
night's
sitting
sleep.
there, I see my brother, I see my family, and I want to treat them exactly the way I would have wanted to be treated.
Do you believe most billionaires and lawyers are compassionate?
I think it all depends on the person. I believe what's helped me in my life was I came from a very difficult childhood with a lot of economic insecurity and alcoholism. Everything bad that you could think happened did happen. But the good thing about those things, if you take it the right way, is those things can generate later in life serious compassion on your part. Whenever I would see somebody homeless, I used to tell my children, just remember this, they don't want to be there. And once upon a time, that was a little girl and little boy eating an ice cream cone, swinging, having the time of their life. And they don't want to be there. And don't judge them because we don't know how they got there.
John, how do you care for your clients when you're done with them? I know your motto is for the people, but it seems like it's only for the client. Up until a certain point, the award is won, the case is closed.
Yo, I feel like this guy right here is not here for the questions. He's just here to Aura Farm. I'm gonna be straight with you, chat. This man's here for the Aura Farm and the Aura points.
For people after you're done with them.
Here's how I take care of the people. I change conduct. I just got a big verdict against Takata airbags down in
Nah, he
Miami a few
hasn't.
weeks
No, he
ago.
hasn't.
I can promise you this, because of my cases, Takata is changing their conduct. I'm one of the lawyers on the opioid cases. These pharmaceutical companies were killing us. That's not happening anymore. I have cases against the tobacco industry. The tobacco industry is in the business of premeditated murder. These are evil, evil, evil companies. And so for the people, not my clients, the people who I'll never represent, the people who will never know me, I'm changing conduct.
My question to you, throughout law school, I heard a lot that lawyers are the reason why insurance costs so much and is expensive. So what is your take on that?
Well, you heard that from the insurance industry. There's been tort reform after tort reform all across America. And you know why they have this, what's called tort reform? To take away your rights, my rights, their rights. They say, we're going to take certain rights away from you and your rates are going to go down. But here's what's never happened. They've never tied one of those bills to a mandatory decrease of insurance premiums. These insurance companies take premiums in, they make bad investments, and then they say, oh, the lawyers are causing us to...
I just noticed your coffee LED and espresso poster. Yeah, it's kind of trip though, chat. What do we think? Big up the coffee, big up the caffeine. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yo, this does not help my case. But, bro, yeah, this does not help my case. But I also got this, like, He's kind of cute though, isn't he? He's like a coffee and iced latte. It's kind of sick. What do we think, chap? But yeah, I like some coffee here and there, you know, if it's not clear enough. God, I look like such a caffeine addict right now. I promise you I'm not, partially.
Make bad investments. No, the lawyers aren't the problem. The insurance companies who run their companies poorly are the problem, and they just want bigger profits. And by the way, when you go home, Google their profits. Google what their CEOs are making. They're not hurting. They're making a lot of money.
If you lost all of your wealth tomorrow, what would be your next step in this struggling economy? Do you think you could pull it off? Do you think you could be just as successful?
I think if I did this
good
again,
question,
I would
chat.
not be this successful. This has
Wait,
been
what'd
a
he say?
series of left. I think if I did this again, I would not be this successful. This has been a series of left turns and right turns, and all of a sudden you end up here. I'm not arrogant enough. I believe that 99% of what's happened to me is luck or blessings or whatever you want to call it.
I'm a
Yeah.
pastor, and one of the core tenets of many faith systems in the world is a rejection of possessions and wealth. Do you feel like you had to sacrifice part of yourself or your faith or your family to be able to get where you are today?
Not at all, because my faith has been at the forefront of everything I've done. It's the teachings from my faith guide me not only in my life, but in my business life. And those lessons are fairly clear to me. Do I think I need to take a vow of poverty? I don't think so. If I'd done that, I would have been a Catholic priest. So no, I have never found a conflict in making money in my faith. I think the conflict would be if I made money and didn't use my money for what I've been taught to use my money for. What my goal is I don't live anywhere near what I make, except, you know, my jet, and that is excess.
Yo, chat, we gotta put that on replay, bro.
Except, you know, my jet, and that is except make. Is I don't live anywhere near what I make, except, you know, my jet, and that is excess.
Yeah, just my jet. I live like a normal person. Oh yeah. I forgot about my private jet. My bad, guys. Just.
But I don't.
Slight forget. You know, the old brain. Not, you know, just forgot about my jet. My bad.
Live
Yo.
that way. And my goal now is that I think my children are set. I do not want to leave the government one penny. I think that, I mean, if you want to see your money wasted, give it to Congress. And what I want to do is I want to do as much as I can while I'm alive and leave a huge amount of money into a foundation, and that will say at that foundation, faith without works is dead.
I personally work at my family's cafe, and I was
Pick
wondering
up the
how
coffee.
much do you normally tip customer service workers that are in serving positions?
$100, and I'll tell you why. We're a member of 3 different churches, and my wife gives away, I don't even know what she gives to these churches, but I am much more interested in leaving $100 tips for my servers and for the people who cut my hair than throwing $100 in the collection plate, because $100 to somebody can change their day. I got a case one time.
W man's right there,
where a
chap.
boy was killed by a bus in Jacksonville. My investigator called me and said, I just think I'd tell you how we got this case. I said, how? He said, the woman met you once. I said, when did
At least
she
he is
meet me?
pocket
5
change,
years
though.
ago. Where? It was Christmas Eve at Bob Evans. And I went there for breakfast with my daughter. And she told my investigator, and he left me a $100 tip. That's why she called me. So I don't know where your cafe is, but let me know and I'll come in and
Amazing.
leave you a $100 tip.
I'll definitely let you know. That's an amazing tip. Thank you, John.
Do you believe it's justifiable to
W
be
John
worth
in
$1
the chat.
billion while millions live?
Amazing tip. Thank you, John.
Do you believe it's justifiable to be worth $1 billion while millions live in poverty?
No.
Bro, this person keeps asking the, like, yo, bro, nothing against this person, but she keeps asking these crazy questions.
I could undo it all and
Like, what was
let
she
us
saying
all be the
before?
same. That's what I would do.
Okay, and do you believe, because I heard something
Hey,
about
she got drip though. Her hair is sick.
you don't agree with the government spending, which I actually do agree with, so how would you split up the money?
The most with the least. I believe that there are people that are, and I don't believe it, I know it. When you go out to the Morgan Hunger Relief Center, the people that are walking in there are not the homeless. They're walking in there dressed in work clothes with their children to get free food. And it's an abomination.
Yeah, because I go to the University of Florida because I remember you mentioning it. And one thing I've noticed as a college student is that there is a lot of corruption throughout it, from the president, even from student government, funneling millions. And then when I look into to see what happened to them, nothing really happened. They didn't go to jail or anything.
Look, the University of Florida, they hired this president who was just a buddy of the governor's, and he came up there and the University of Florida and took so much money, and he's still on the payroll, Ben Sass.
Yeah, that's what a lot of college students are talking about.
It's an outrage. And by the way, when you Google those articles, the alligator, I'm all over those all over those articles, ripping him a new.
So you just mentioned that everyone's a politician now, but you also said that you also have done at least 2 different things with legislation. So would you consider yourself to also be a politician?
Sorta. You know, everybody wants me to run for governor of Florida right now. When I'd go to the White House, they'd take me over to the side and show me polling on me. And there's a side of me that thinks I could be good at it, but then there's a side of me that really enjoys living in Maui half the year. So I became sort of a politician.
The subtle flexes are actually funny.
They were fighting me hard on the minimum wage. They were fighting me hard on medical marijuana. And I was out debating sheriffs, and everybody I was debating had a green suit on and a gun. So it's like, you know, a little hard to debate them. So I was sort of a politician because I was in the political realm, and that's why all this talk about me, about people wanting me to run for governor is percolating.
So today, I think we've all sat here and we've heard you talk about your jet and Maui and your 3 homes and the money that sits in your account that you don't care to touch. I think we all have experienced at some point in time that moment that you talked about as a kid, sitting there hoping and praying that somebody would help you. So I guess my question that you didn't really answer, you just told me how much you have. What stops you from helping every person in this room that's struggling right now, that can't pay a bill, had to miss out on work? How do you help them? What do you do? Because you got a private jet, but I had to take off from work today, and I'm struggling. I got bills, man. And I'm not begging for money, but I'm saying, what stops you from being able...
Well, he kind of is begging for money, but I mean, I do get the point. The point is fair enough, but he is begging for money.
And help us and change our lives, because...
Let me give you 100 while we're here.
W man's in the chat. He just pulled out like a wad of...
Let me give you 100 while we're here.
Just casually keeps like $2,000 in his pocket. I mean, I guess I'd be doing that, you know what I'm saying?
Don't buy marijuana.
No, I don't smoke,
At
I
the
don't
middle
drink.
school.
No, man.
Yo, that is crazy.
I don't smoke,
At
I
the
don't
middle
drink.
school.
After middle school is
Nothing stops me. Listen, here's how I look at it. I went to a religious retreat one time under duress. It was called a Crescio. And I thought it was going to be a bunch of bullshit, and it was basically a bunch of But at the very end, it all came down
Now, but chat, just going back on this guy giving him the money, I love that though. He doesn't even answer his question because he doesn't want to. Because, you know, you can't, like, no matter how rich you are, you can't, like, I don't know, you can't, like, solve all poverty. That's actually impossible, you know? So instead of answering this complicated question, this man just goes and silences this guy by giving him $100. I actually rate that. He just silences him by just take my money, you know? Just puts that guy like,
I took from that
yo.
meeting, and here's what I took.
I rate that. It's
can't
fair. It's
change the whole world. I would love to be able to.
Exactly. What did I just say? I literally just said you can't. It's just
The phrase that I took from that Crescio weekend was bloom where you're planted. What does that mean? That means I can't solve hardly anything. But every once in a while, I'll get a God whisper, somebody asking. Then I think back to that Crescio, and it's like, bloom where you're planted. And I feel like at this moment, that's what I'm being asked to do. And I can only do so much. I'm trying to manage my money so that at the end of it all, it can have the greatest bang for its buck.
You know, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure if there's anything that would have been a perfect answer, just because he's really good at talking to you and he's a likable guy, and he's soft in the eyes, so it's easy for him to get you on his side. So I don't know if there's anything he could have said that would have completely changed my mind, but I think showing your actions he handed me $100, but there were people in the room had told their stories throughout the day. And with a wad of cash in your hand, you could shut me up, but he could have given it to everybody. He could have shown in that moment that he has the power to change your life, and he could try to change your life. Even if it's a small amount, it's better than nothing. And he didn't really do that.
One of the
Nah, you can't hate on him, bro.
takeaways
Yo, Kof, have a beautiful evening, bro. I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good one, bro.
I took is there was a quiet desperation, a little bit of a worry about the future, and a little resentment about people who have money.
So I think billionaires are inherently parasitical to society as a whole. No matter how they accumulated that
What does that
wealth,
mean?
they're always going to be profiting off of the backs of people who are doing the work. In his case, he's the better of evil system.
Yeah, this guy literally just came to aura farm. He did nothing, chat. He just came to sit back and just aura farm for 34 minutes. I rate it though.
While he is helping injured people get the settlement that they feel they deserve, he is still profiting off of advocating for that injury.
I'm of the volition that there's nothing wrong with billionaires. I am a rabid capitalist, and I know John talked about that a lot, but that is who I am. That is my background. I think that if you have a financial wealth, yes, you should definitely do good things with it, and you need to help the people around you. That's just moral code. But I don't believe that billionaires are inherently bad, or they're out to prove world domination or something of the sort like that.
I think a lot of the questions are going to help me reflect on those questions and what I should and am doing.
Yo, that was a W video, chat. I'm at end stream though because I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I'm craving a chalky milk. That was a W video. I'm at end stream, pop a chalky milk and do a little bit of editing. But yeah, W John in the chat. And yeah, bro, I'm loving the reacts. So subscribe, whatever, for more reacts. YouTube, have a beautiful evening. I appreciate you guys watching. Peace out, boys.